Its capable stealth capabilities are the advantages that make the Lockheed Martin fighter jet even more tempting. However, the United States did not aim to make the F-22 too commercial. Instead, the US wants to promote the F-35. This is because the F-22 includes advanced fighter jet technology, which will certainly harm the US if it is too commercialized. The US military is indeed the best military in the world. According to the World Military Ranking site, Global Firepower, only the Russian military can beat the US military. Now, it is reported that Russia has a fighter jet that can beat the F-22 fighter jet. It is the Sukhoi/Su-35 Flanker E that can beat the F-22. What are the advantages of this fighter jet from the country led by Vladimir Putin? Citing the national interest, it turns out that the Su-35 Flanker E has an infrared radar that can search and track. The F-22 Raptor is one of the most advanced warplanes in the world, but it turns out there are some drawbacks to it. First, the F-22 is infrared blind even though some of its potential rivals have infrared search and tracking sensors. Effectively making them trackable for enemy warplane tracking devices that use heat sensors. The last US fighter jet to have an infrared sensor during its development was the F-14 Tomcat. The F-18 Super Hornet fighter now has the option of carrying a midline drop tank with infrared, which makes it expensive to actually go down in combat. The F-22 also lacks a side-facing radar, which allows the aircraft to fire missiles that require midway updates from the aircraft's radar while continuing to provide tracking data after turning more than 90 degrees from the missile's path. Without such a radar, fighter jets would have to keep pointing at enemy aircraft, and getting closer and closer to missiles that could fire at them. However, the F-22's shortcoming apparently stems from the origins of the Raptor. The F-22 began with the Advanced Tactical Fighter Jet program, which began in 1981. The U.S. Air Force awarded the General Dynamics Award and contract to McDonnell Douglas for its original working design for an air-to-ground fighter jet that could fly at Mach 2.5 to medium altitude. And could carry weapons that destroy tanks and ground targets. The program initially yielded nothing, as the F-16 Fighting Falcon, originally designed as a daytime air-to-air fighter, suddenly emerged from the rear. And was repurposed to fill the role of an air-to-ground fighter jet. In late 1985, the U.S. Air Force made a number of necessary changes as the program continued, including a greater emphasis on stealth capabilities. They also changed the selection process so that instead of the 4 companies receiving approximately $100 million each, 2 would get a $700 million contract each to produce flying prototypes. One prototype will be powered by a Pratt & Whitney F-119 engine and the other with a General Electric F-120 engine. At the same time, the U.S. Air Force sent letters to competing companies to encourage collaboration. The idea behind this was because the U.S. Air Force wanted as much talent as possible for such a large and expensive program. As a result, Boeing, Lockheed and General Dynamics formed one team, and Northrop and McDonnell Douglas formed another, but Rockwell and Grumman did not. On October 31, 1986, the Air Force declared Lockheed and Northrop the winners of the competition for the Advanced Tactical Fighter Jet program. The partnership agreement between Boeing, General Dynamics and Lockheed calls for the winning company to be the team leader, so Lockheed is the team head for the program. The winning team was given 4 years to produce their flying prototype. Lockheed's designs at this stage had large swivel gun bays that pushed the engines and inlets outward, which in turn produced an excessive amount of wave resistance. This is also the case with the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter with vertical lift fans, making the plane too wide and draggy. Initially, the Air Force required that 8 missiles be carried internally in the F-22's main weapons bay, then it was reduced to 6 when both design teams concluded that this design was not being carried out effectively. The F-22's real challenge was to integrate its highly integrated and agile stealth, super cruise, avionics capabilities into a much longer-range aircraft than the aircraft it replaced, the F-15 Eagle. The F-22 design was later cost-limited by the U.S. Air Force to $9 million per aircraft in production. To date, Lockheed designs have more than $16 million in avionics in each aircraft. This eventually led to the dropping of the infrared design, which also included the plane's cheek-mounted radar, a decision not made by the U.S. Air Force, but by Lockheed Martin, who decided what was best for the money. Now, Lockheed Martin's decision is immediately regretted because the Russian Su-35 Flanker E has a red infrared search and tracking radar and is mounted on the fuselage.